before we take on the GP.
In addition, we're continuing to expand course electives because part of our goal is to ensure that we graduate students with options. We want to ensure that we take the word or, employment or, trade school or, university, and replace it with and. We believe that every student should graduate with options to pursue whatever pathway they choose. And that means expanding course options. And this last year we expanded science course electives. We initiated a Careers in Construction Academy that includes an advanced construction trades course in partnership with TwistWorks. Maybe you've seen the deck that's being built off the North Warehouse. We're expanding that yet again this year. We're, with Bob's retirement, we're recruiting a full-time construction instructor and welding instructor, and we're also adding coding coursework, engineering coursework, and robotics to our course electives this year. Most recently, I want to be careful because I don't want to overpromise, but one of the conversations that I had recently was with a gentleman who I am affiliated with through the Northwest Career and Technical Academy about creating a fire and EMT course that allows, I see Brian, that would allow our students to engage in a program that not only provides them with college credit, but certification. And whether or not our students pursue a career as a firefighter or an EMT, I think it's great that they have an opportunity to engage with mentors that are out in the field. And even if they decide, well, now I know this isn't for me, that's time well spent. But I think it could also potentially promote volunteerism within our community as well as potentially employment. So I want to make sure that it's really clear that while we haven't decided whether or not the diploma program is the right fit for us, it'd probably be a committee that we would establish to take a close look at that we are committed to continuing to expand course offerings and elective options. I'm going to take this question over here.
Can you tell me what options you're going to give parents who do not want their children to learn in the IB school?
Yeah. This is a question, this is actually one of the questions that I received early on, but it was from a group of parents that feel like they're challenged by the lack of options that we offer at present. The question was, what are we going to do as a district in response to parents that don't believe the IB framework will support their children's learning? And I think the first answer I would say is that we believe that the International Baccalaureate framework is a program that is good for all children. And in fact, I'll highlight Rainier Beach as an example. A school long thought of as a failing school with declining enrollment. Recently was on the front page of the Seattle Times. They have increased their graduation rates from 53% to just under 80% in 3 years. Their enrollment is nearly doubling, and parents who have previously elected to send their children to private schools are now bringing their students back to Rainier Beach. What's really interesting about that too is I think that it really highlights just how important, one, the teacher is in the classroom, and then two, the professional development associated with the classroom, and then finally, what they're struggling with is the cost associated with that. And the reality is that districts have to support their schools, and we're committed to doing so. I saw a hand over here, Jennifer.
You didn't answer the question. You didn't answer my question.
Okay.
You walked around the subject. You did not answer it.
So I would probably need to know. I would probably need to know more about what it is about the IB framework that you don't like. We have parents right now that
But you see,
elect.
hold on just a second.
Okay.
That doesn't make a difference whether I like it or not. I want to know what you are going to give options. What options are you going to give to the parents whose kids do not want to do this? Or in my case, I do not want my child to do this. She will not do well. She will struggle the whole way through.
I guess my question to you would be, what part of it do you think is going to be different that she'll struggle with? And
Okay.
that's probably not a conversation
That
for here.
we need to know the answer to my question.
Right now, we believe that it's good for all kids.
You're not answering the question. She has
And
What
I'm
are
saying
the
I can't make that decision.
There's no option.
There's no options if we don't want our kid to do this.
Well, we have the REACH program.
Okay, she's in 8th grade, or going to be in 8th grade next year. I can't just pull her out of school and put her in the alternative school because she's in 8th grade,
We have the REACH program,
which is
our
homeschooling.
partnership.
Okay, I have a job, which a lot of these people here have, is jobs so that we can live in the valley. If we not homeschool our children, they need to go to a public school, and this is the only public school in the area that they can go to unless we're going to drive 45 minutes away.
So I'd like to just attempt to answer that. I completely understand your concern. And in my school in Minnesota, I was the principal of a public school in Minnesota that became an IB school. And we had many students whose parents at the beginning were nervous about, because the IB has a reputation for being a very rigorous framework. They were very nervous. And what we said to them was, you know us, you know the teachers in the school, so trust us when we say that we are committed to setting high standards for your children, but we are also committed to doing whatever it takes to help students reach those high standards.
How many
this
elementary
is-
schools were in that district?
I'm sorry?
How many elementary schools were in that district?
We were I was in a district where there was one elementary school and one middle school that went to 10th grade. And we had students that came from all over the St. Paul area. But what I can say to you is that we have all kinds of students in our school, and we had systems within the school to support all kinds of learners, and they were all successful in the IB program. There wasn't a student in the program that couldn't be successful. We made sure that was the case.
How do you make sure that that's the case when their grades aren't even graded here?
Sorry, Ann, I'm sorry to interrupt. I have to
Okay.
go to the Booster Club meeting, so I just want to say my thing. Most of you guys know me. I'm Jennifer Duguay. I grew up here my whole life. My kids went to school here my whole life. And I have to go to the Booster Club meeting. We need more Booster Club members, by the way. I just think that this framework is a lot how I like to teach. My kids kind of choose projects, and within that and I've always been like, is that really okay? But they actually do quite well on the state tests, and they do well the rest of their life. But anyway, so I'm excited about it. I'm going to learn more about it this weekend, and I think we should just keep open minds. It seems really cool.
Just before I finish, I want to assure everybody, because I think there's also a question about, what happens to our students who are now getting some help in a Title I classroom with a Title I teacher, or what happens to our students who have special needs, who are getting some special education support. In an IB school, all of those systems are still in place. The Title I teachers and the special ed teachers work together with the classroom teachers as they create units. And they decide what kind of extra supports are needed for students that have special needs. But none of that goes away. All of that kind of support is still very, very much in place in an IB school. Sure.
So, as taught from K-6. As a special education teacher, I have to go to each classroom throughout the year and catch up with what topics they're teaching, and it's really demanding on my time, and I'm not able to plan as much. But what the framework provides for me as a special education teacher is I know what units they're going to be teaching, and so I can prepare for that and get materials that are more at a student's grade level or having projects planned for them. So for me, it actually aligns it. And one of the things when I went into the IB school, this was when you walk into an IB school, you see what I think of as a quilt. And there's the 6 topics that they teach throughout the school year at all grade levels. And so you have the topics across the top, you have the grade levels along the side, and you can see what unit is being taught at any given time. And being a teacher and a parent of a student in this district, I still don't know what's happening all the time with my child. And so to be able to walk into a school and to be able to just see that is a really clear picture of what's going on. So,
We do have some others as well.
And I have a question for just
Right.
First question is, who's going to make the final decision on this? You or the school board?
The final decision on.
We've already made that. Could you repeat the question?
Yes. She's asking who is going to make the final decision, and what I tell you is that I support my staff. And after a year-long journey and exploration into the model, and I think we just heard from Jennifer and Laura, I am prepared to support them because they're professionals, and I'm supporting my staff. My school board supports our staff as well. And that's taking the next step, which is applying for candidacy, and then asking our parents and community to join us in, as I said earlier, moving through what we're calling a consideration phase as we explore this model together.
I would say probably 99% of the IB schools in the United States are in large cities where there's an option for the families to take their kids out of the IB school and put them in another school. That's not going to happen. There's no choices except the Christian school.
I've heard that.
Private schools
Are they going to drop it?
Right.
So I think you guys can do it's really hard about that, because when I was on the school board, there was 600 kids here. Now, I think it's down to around 400 or less.
Actually, we're growing. Students.
Okay, and that's partially because of the kids that are no longer going to the private school. Re-entered here. So what's going to happen now is in the south, they're going to keep the kids out of school, and they're going to come up with an option. I don't have any kids in the school, so I don't have to worry about it. I'm worried about the what's going to happen to them. I would not have my child in my school. And if all of the people in this room went to Truth About IB on the internet, and if they only believe half of what they read,
One of the things that I would encourage some of our parents that are concerned about choice would be to look at the Summit County School District, which is located near Frisco, Dillon, and Breckenridge, Colorado. So it's in the heart of the Rockies. The demographics are very much similar to the Methow Valley. They're a small, relatively small mountain town. They're larger than we are. The total population is about 27,000. They serve about 3,000 students, K through 12, and all of their schools are IB. And if you look at their website, what you'll see that I think might help diffuse some of the fear and anxiety is you'll see a curriculum specific to their school district that responds to the requirements that they have in the state of Colorado, that clearly indicates that every IB school is uniquely different based upon its community and the attributes associated with that community. And I think it's a great example because it's a school district within a community where apparently the only choice in the public schools would be to attend an international baccalaureate school. We're always willing to listen. So, okay.
So I'm Kate. I have a daughter. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay. I have a daughter who's entering kindergarten this year, and I also am the director at Classroom in Bloom, our garden program here. And because of that relationship with the school district, last fall, when the school district was doing some of their staff research, they invited some of the people who had relationships with the school, like Classroom in Bloom and Methow Arts Alliance, that brings sort of supplemental programs to our district, to go over and have the same opportunity that the sign-up sheet is up there to do, and get to see these schools in Bellingham. So we visited, I think, 3, maybe 4 schools, and it was, for me, it was personally eye-opening. I don't have any background in IB. I want my child, who's going to be a kindergartner here, to be excited about learning, do well in school, go on and do great things. And I was really impressed with seeing the level of engagement of the students that we saw, and seeing how they were focused and excited for what they were doing. The way they interacted with their teachers and each other was really impressive to me, and I thought, wow, what an opportunity for my kid in the future if we do this. Again, it sounds like this isn't 100%, so this is the time we do the learning. And if that type of program could happen here, I thought, in a rural community, wow, how lucky are we to get to do something like this. Basically, I'd encourage anyone who has concerns to go if you can. I also work full-time, so I recognize scheduling is super hard with work, but if you can take the opportunity, go check it out. And for the people that have a lot of concerns, share what they are. I hear a lot of people saying, what's the vote? When's it going to happen? We don't want it. But I'm curious, as a fellow parent of students that have classes together, why? Or what are the specific nitty-gritty details that feel really scary or uncomfortable that make you resist this? And I'm not saying this is the answer. I just want to learn what those feelings are. Like, is it cost? Like, I've heard all sorts of concerns about the cost, or are they going to cut sports, or, how does this hurt me? Like, I want to know those answers. I want to know if there's going to be negatives associated with this too. And so for those of you who are saying, no, I'm curious why, because I want to know what the concern is and know if I have that shared concern or what the answer is. So I'd just be curious to know maybe a bit more from people who feel really uncomfortable about what that is, as another parent. Anyway, that's all.
Does somebody want to respond to that? And then it's Cherie's turn. Did you want to respond, Brian?
Yeah, I want to respond. No, I just had something I wanted to say.
Okay,
so
so
go ahead.
Cherie. Sorry, she's been waiting.
You can put me in the parking lot. That's okay.
This is the second IB meeting that I've attended, and listening to some of the concerns, I just want to clarify something from my own concern. As I understand it, we're not necessarily getting away from any of the state curriculum. The kids are still going to be learning the core standards the state is expecting them. We're just setting it up in a framework that's more exciting
is, you talked about sustainability and how we can't do this on our own. You spoke earlier about the first grade class is already doing that kind of activity. Jennifer Duday said that she already teaches like that in her classroom. My question is, Tom, are you planning on leaving? Because isn't that your job to make sure that any framework that we put into place is in place, I guess, like that. Because if you're telling the teachers, this is what's going on, there shouldn't be any confusion, correct?
Right. So the question was, am I leaving or am I staying? And I wasn't planning on sharing this, but Annie and I, we just bought a house. We're moving in Saturday. So but part of my job as well, to get to the heart of your question, I think, is that part of my job is to promote sustainability. And part of the reason, the primary reason that I passed out that strategic vision document is that while it communicates what it is we aspire to achieve in support of our students, more importantly, what that does is it strategically drives how we invest our limited resources. One of the things that I didn't mention that I wanted to mention, knowing that this question would come up, is that when you read the article, and I encourage you to do so, about Rainier Beach, what you'll see is that the program, the International Baccalaureate program, that has fueled so much success there in such a short time is in jeopardy because there's not a sustainable funding source. They've been using grant dollars. Over the last 2 years, we've installed or implemented a budget development process that strategically allocates our funds to those 6 strategic areas of focus. And that's why we've not only been able to expand and initiate new coursework, eliminate supply fees, course fees, some enrichment fees, because we truly believe that an exceptional experience for every child should be truly free of charge. And we have a long ways to go in that area. We're committed to sustaining the program financially, and investing in our teachers, knowing that they make a difference in the lives of our students and the learning of our students. And so we're committed to that. And we've actually, in the process of doing so, we've actually improved our financial position as a district.
So my question though was, why can't we, that's your job is to provide the sustainability, why can't we do that without going to the IB program? And also, if this program is going to benefit our students so much, why is it that we are ranked 8th in the state and we're ranked higher than all 29 IB schools in the state already?
Well, I'll have Ann talk a little bit about IB coordination and why it's important to have coaching and support. I think that several of our staff members, if you were to ask them as well, what they would tell you is that they've missed the support that an instructional coach, or in this case an IB coordinator, provides to a team of teachers. It's a little bit like fielding a football team. I'll use the Seattle Seahawks as an example. Each and every one of them is a professional. They're at the top of their game, but without a coach, placing those 11 players on the field is likely not going to result in the success that they have as a team and as an organization. And so my job is to help promote sustainability by putting systems in place, which includes instructional coaching and a network of professional development and support, which is difficult in a rural, remote community. Being a part of the International Baccalaureate program provides our staff with access to other staff. It promotes teacher-to-teacher talk, not only with our own teachers, but teachers worldwide. And it infuses energy and ideas into our system that wouldn't otherwise. Do you want to add to that?
So the second part of my question was, how is this going to be rated? What's the proven measure of success here? Because like I said, we're ranked 8th in the state. There's 29 IB schools in Washington State. We rank higher than every single one of them already. So what's the proven
What's wrong with the old program?
What's wrong with the
I think, are you looking to respond to that? Okay. I'm going to ask Mindy to go ahead and respond.
I can't respond to the very last part of that, but the part about sustainability, I'm really old and I've been here for a really long time. And in 1978, when I first started, what Tom said earlier about if you look at the pink paper, we're just starting to look at where things overlap. We were looking at that in 1978 and 1980 and 85, and teachers are, I'm going to cry, teachers work really, really hard. And if the last time you had a birthday party and you had 12 kids at your house for, let's say, 3 hours, and you were exhausted, and we do that every day, all day long, that takes a lot of energy. And then what we have to do on top of that is create curriculum and recreate it and recreate it and recreate it. It's exhausting, and there's only so many hours in the day. So if we can take something that someone else has created that's exceptional. I know nothing about the IB world. I haven't participated in any of the studies or anything, but I know that from my point of view, all those years of recreating student learning objectives and Common Core and state standards, and we had this thing called ELers back in the day. It's like, those are all the same thing done over and over and over that then we have to recreate units around. It's hard. And if we can find something, that's what the sustainability question is. We just can't do it all. And so if we can take those bits, and Linda had something to say about that.
Well, I want to add to that about the sustainability, because I think it's another part of it. First of all, I think part of this, I think part of the exciting part is the creating of your own curriculum. It's not dictated what's going to be taught, that the teachers do get to create it. However, the sustainability part, and I too with Mindy am really old. The sustainability part is when I think of over the years, the workshops we have gone to and we were trained in as teachers, and we had what we thought were really great ideas and programs, and we taught them, and then as people left and new people came in, those workshops are gone, those trainings are gone, nobody knows how to teach it, it starts getting watered down, and pretty soon it just fizzles away, and then pretty soon you look back and think, we used to do something like that, why don't we do it anymore? Because it's the turnover. If the people aren't trained, it disappears. They don't have the same training. But with the IB, being that it's a program that provides in-service and provides professional development as new teachers, even if we create the curriculum and new teachers coming in can be trained how to implement that program, implement that curriculum, which is what has been lacking for us for years. And so that it does sustain, it's sustainable because there's constantly somebody there that can still provide the training for them, and it doesn't disappear.
But my second question was never answered, though.
Right. We didn't get to
I mean, in
that.
relation to that, though, about sustainability of curriculum, the fact of the matter is, even if we adopted this IB, even if we moved to Tennessee, became full members of IB, if there's a change in school board, if there's a change in the superintendent, then that they can take that away, so they can make different changes then too. So even though yes, it is a sustainable, framework or anything, that's not saying that that's going to set us for the next 40 years or the next 50, however long. It's all a matter of what the people who are in your positions right now have decided is best for the school. So yes, it is a framework, and it does provide sustainability, but for only the time that we choose to be a part of it. And as soon as somebody chooses not to be a part of that anymore, then we're back to what these people are talking about and doing the same things over and over again. So yes, I do agree that it is a framework and it is sustainable because of the learner connection, but I'm just saying it's not the only answer. That's my point. Sorry.
So what's the measure of success? I've done a lot of research. There's a lot of parents who are actually not scared, but informed. And there's no proven measure of success that says that this is going to, make our children more appealing to colleges. Actually, from what we've researched, they're less appealing to colleges So, my question is, how are you basing that?
Well, I'll answer, I'll just give a part of that answer and then someone else can answer as well. IB, if you go to the University of Washington website, the admissions section of the website, IB is listed along with AP as one of the best college preparation programs that a student can come to college with.
And certain classes, they'll make I have those. They'll make certain score on tests and things like that.
And that's it's the same with AP. But what is also true is that college.
It's the lower levels. They cannot accept it on the same level as AP.
Well, I think the reality is that colleges understand that AP and IB are both rigorous coursework that prepare students for college work. And when they see a student who has had who has what do you call it? When they come with their transcript, that wasn't what I was saying. Sorry. When they come with a transcript and they have taken IB classes, then college entrance committees know that, college admissions committees know that they have been involved in coursework that prepares them well for the kind of things that they're going to be expected to know right away in college.
Higher level, right? Not this, the SL level, right?
Well, some colleges have a particular level where if you pass at a certain score on a higher level, then you actually get to skip courses in college. But all admissions recognize that IB coursework at either level is rigorous and is good for preparing for college.
But we're not applying for that, right? We're not doing that yet. That's a
Well,
further down the road, we're gonna think about it. If we're successful with this, then we will move on to that.
And one of the complications is that our teachers at the middle school and high school are often teaching, so we have teachers that are both at the middle school and teaching high school classes, and we're just allowing them to learn how to teach their classes at the middle school before we also ask them to learn how to teach the course in the diploma program. So it would just be very difficult for them to be learning both at the same time. That's one of the practical reasons.
So, you had a question for quite a long time. And then Natalie, you're next. And then Brian.
I have first of all, I wanted to say how amazing the teachers have been here. We have grandkids here. I talked to Mike Nelson, who's a curriculum director of Coeur d'Alene School District. They have had the P1 program for the last 4 years, not this last 4 years, but they've had it for 4 years. And it is on the internet. They canceled this curriculum for reasons. I asked him specifically what was the problem. The thought processes were very challenging. The open-ended global thinking. The parents were having major problems with their children at home. And on top of that, it was getting very expensive for the district. Did you check to see if there was anybody, I know you have gone to many places to see the plans. Have you checked on the failures and made notes of that?
The question was, have we checked on we've looked at schools that have been successful. have we checked on schools that have not been successful with this model? And I am aware that the IB program, which was initiated in Coeur d'Alene, it no longer exists in Coeur d'Alene. But no, we've chosen to look at schools that have been successful.
So I would like to know if what's the sports, how is the sports gonna fall with this, or?
That's a great question, Natalie, and I feel like we need to go around and tell every student in our school and every class that sports are not going away. It's very, very much a part of our community and very, very much a part of keeping you guys healthy and in a good form to study at school. So no, you will still have your sports.
Are they going to have time for sports with the amount of rigorous homework they're going to have with the new program?
And is it gonna be the same cost, or is it gonna be higher?
No, it will not be a higher cost. And through 10th grade, which is what we're looking at right now, again, it's going to be very project-oriented, and most of it will happen during school. I don't see that it's going to be any more homework than we have now. Homework gets more as you get into the AP classes and the calculus and things like that. But at the 7 through 10, it's going to be more project-based, and because we're on a block schedule, we have plenty of time to do that during the day. However, it doesn't always get done during the day, so then things will go home. But I don't think it's going to be more.
What's your average homework time gonna be?
Like an average kid
Average kid?
Yeah, I'm not sure that it's changing. It's through the 10th grade. I'm sorry, Brian.
So, I went into tonight knowing absolutely nothing about IB except that it was International Baccalaureate. I read the internet article about the Rainier Beach. Was pretty impressed with what they've done there. I've got a child in kindergarten, and I've got 2 more children that will be coming up, following him up through this school. I went to this school system. I was a product of Allen Elementary in Twist, and I went to Methow Middle School in Winthrop, where Winthrop Physical Therapy is now, and I graduated from this building here, and actually in this very gym, back when it was a high school. And with what I'm hearing tonight, I'm hearing the teachers, and I've talked to several teachers about this, they're for it. This is and I haven't heard one teacher say this is something that we need to steer away from, or this is something that we should be scared of. It sounds to me like the teachers, this would be a good for them. I think that, personally, I don't go to the bakery to get my oil changed. Okay? I go to the person that knows what their job and ask them to do it for me. So, I think that we need to weigh that heavily. Those people that in this room that for whatever your reasons are, why you do not agree with the IB or the change in this framework or whatever it is, I challenge you to do what Kate says. Voice those, find it, what's the crux of your challenge to this program, and let's get that out there, and maybe we can get some answers that to your, whatever your concerns are, maybe you can get those alleviated and get either on board with this, or maybe it just will kind of, yep, you're right, I don't like this and I don't want this. Let's get this figured out.
See Nicole, that gentleman, and Brooke. So, would you like to go first? Okay.
Lori took the first part of my question, talking about, Coeur d'Alene and the schools that it's failed in. And I find it very disturbing that the district has not taken staff and teachers to these schools where IB has failed or they have not gone through it. So I think the teachers love the framework. They love what is being told them about the program, but they don't know the other side of it. They don't know why it fails. I think the touchy subject is, what do a lot of people not like about it? Most of the people who do not like the program are conservative, and the IB program is backed by and affiliated with UNESCO, the UN, and they teach values, are required to teach values that we disagree with. That's the crux of the issue. It's a touchy subject. That's the elephant in the room that I just kicked. So, go for it.
Mary Miles. I'm a teacher here and also a parent. And I just wanted to say that I think our district is very successful. And being number 8 in the state I just want to remind everyone that that's just one form of measurement. That's just one way that we measure our kids. And as a former student, not in this district but elsewhere, I can tell you that I could do my homework on the way to school on the bus in 10 minutes. I could ace any test. I think my 4th grader is about the same. He could pretty much perform on a test. Could he tell me why it's important that he knows that information? Can he think critically about why it's important? Or can he think critically about learning about energy right now and transfer of energy? I hope he can tell me why is that important, you know? And so I just want to, I just think it's important that that's how we're measuring our kids and not and so it's just something to think about. We all want our kids to be grounded individuals. We're concerned about sports, we're concerned about arts and whether those things will go away. And so this is just another part of it, is critical thinking and all of the things that go with that aren't necessarily measured on the standardized test.
So, Josh? Yes, so I would just like to respond. I appreciate you speaking up and, like you said, identifying the elephant in the room. The school that I was the principal of in Minnesota was located in a very conservative community, and we had lots of conservative families and progressive families all together. A part of the mission of the school was to bring urban and suburban families together. But what we asked our families to do was to trust us as teachers, and then to listen to their children, to come into the school and give us their feedback and give us their input about what they felt about what was happening in the school. And we really did listen. We really wanted to know if there was something that was happening in the school that bothered them, that didn't feel right to them and to their value system. And I don't believe we ever lost a family because of that. The values that are listed, I think they're listed on the sheet that you were handed out, are values that many Christian communities embrace. And so we didn't feel like talking about those kind of things in school was counter to any religious organization that in our community. And they also seem like things that as public school teachers we should be talking about, whether or not we care about each other, whether we're thinkers, whether we are balancing academic work with sports, whether we're inquiring. Those all seem like a part of what we do as public school teachers. But we really also listened carefully to our parents. And if they did have specific concerns, then we talked to them about those. So the parent community is really important to us, and we are hoping that you join us, really physically join us in the schools to see what is happening as we move forward in this journey. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
One being about, I hear a lot of things about higher level learning and rigorous coursework. And it's wonderful that some people can do their homework in 10 minutes on the bus on the way to school. What about the children who cannot? What about the children who aren't at that higher level? Like we want all of our children to be, but they aren't all there. And I'm slightly less concerned than how we're educating our children. Can we all be made aware at some point of exactly how much this is going to cost and where that money is going? Who is the district paying for this program? Because there's a lot of, I hear, it's X amount of dollars for the application process, and it's X amount of dollars for this, but she's saying that schools fail because of rising expense. So is there a way to make us aware of exactly how much we're going to pay for this program and who's getting it, who's getting that extra money.
So I'll answer the second part of your question regarding fees. So to apply for candidacy is a $4,000 annual fee, or actually a one-time fee per school. It's not annual, it's one time. That was new learning to us. So it would be an $8,000 fee, which provides us with access to the resources and supports associated with the International Baccalaureate. And then there is a fee associated with staff participation in International Baccalaureate workshops. And those fees are no different than the fees that we would typically allocate toward individual teacher professional development. So we're not spending any more than we have in the past. What we're doing is we're investing it strategically for every staff or every certificated teacher through IB. So they're all getting the same training. So it's very focused. The other expense associated with the International Baccalaureate program is having a coordinator who serves as an instructional coach. So as I was describing before, we've designed our budget in a way that ensures that the funding that we were allocating previously for professional development is being allocated in the form of professional development in partnership with International Baccalaureate.
So I heard you say, or question, whether or not all students can truly be successful, because it is a rigorous program. It does require students to think and to write and to read. But I can tell you that in my school in Minnesota, over 20% of the students in that school were in special education, which was an extremely high percentage for any individual school. It's much higher than we have here in this school. And those students were supported in any way that they needed to be supported, whether it was an extra paraprofessional to help them in their classroom, or a reading teacher, or whatever it was they needed to be successful, the school was committed to providing. So I don't want you to walk away from this meeting feeling like this is a program for only certain students. This is a program for absolutely for every single one of your children.
So, can I
Oh, sorry, Nicole.
Yes. So I was an IB student. I don't know if there are any other IB students here in the Valley, but I can tell you that I'm not a very intellectual person. I read through the IB program, and I made it, and I graduated. And what I want to say about it, I want to tell you a really quick story, and that is that while I was going through the IB program, it was actually a diploma program. I was not excelling at all, and I was failing tests. I wasn't able to do my homework. My parents couldn't figure out how to support me. I didn't learn how to read until I was in 4th grade. Not a good student at all. And so when I entered the, no, that was all during, this is all during, this is learning. Well, so as I was going so my point is then, as a part of the IB program, they were realizing, the teachers were realizing that I was not a good student, so they pulled me out and put me in special ed. And my special ed teacher was IB trained, and she realized, she put me through tests, and she helped me realize, no, she doesn't have special needs. This girl is an artist. She's just not able to read and write like everybody else. She needs to be able to express herself in a way that works for her. So then, working with her, she actually brought her husband in and played flute with me in class. I didn't have to do this for homework. So then, I was able to incorporate my learning into the process. The teacher, the IB teacher, was trained to work with me as an individual in that classroom, and I excelled on tests in my own way. It had nothing, and I reached the standards. It had nothing to do with religion, or for me, didn't have anything to do with anything except that they were working with me as a student in my own individual.
number 15 in the country and number 17 in the world. We're getting kind of far down the list at that point. If anybody here has gotten on Washington's report card, they will find out that while we are a good school, we're not yet a great school. And I see the teachers and the staff here reaching for the greatness for our children. If you look at 4th grade for last year, 60% of them failed math for the MSP. 60%. We're not talking about I mean, we as a community talk about all the kids that went to Harvard or the one that got into Yale. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the kids that are going to be cleaning hotel rooms because they didn't do well in school. And I say we need to be supporting our staff who wants to reach high for our kids. And I don't mean to insult